Hey guys, I'm Mono. Isonzo is a game that can be quite punishing. There are often very wide and extensive lines of sight, meaning you can get shot from very far away or from angles you wouldn't expect. But there's also a couple of mechanics that aren't fully explained, so in this video I'll go over some tips that help me get much better at the game and will help you as well. Alright, first tip, you can resupply ammo to machine guns and mortars. So as soon as you run out of ammunition, you will see this cooldown appear, and once it's over, which is 1 minute, you will be able to replenish all rounds just as if the weapon were newly built. The way to do this is to just get close and look at the weapon while holding the rifleman's ammo box and then holding right click. So there's only a 1 minute cooldown between more mortar rounds coming in, which I think is way too short, making it very spammable. And also, given some mortars are in areas where you can't get shot or killed, so I hope they increase the cooldown on them or something. Second tip is to use the MGs that are furthest away from the front lines. You'll have no doubt noticed that most of the time you pick up a machine gun, you get shot pretty much instantly. Well, if you go back in the level, you'll often find machine guns that have a relatively good line of fire onto the incoming enemy, and being so far away, it's going to be extremely difficult for them to figure out where the shots are coming from once you start shooting at them. Not all maps have these guns, but several do, so try and remember where they are because they can be quite devastating. Alright, tip number 3, and this is going to be regarding general gameplay, and that is to slow down. Given the nature of guns in the game, and as I mentioned, the sometimes very wide and open lines of sight that the maps have, you don't really want to go in guns blazing, charging into the enemy. You'll find out that doing that just results in you getting killed over and over again. So my advice is to spawn somewhere that's not under immediate danger, then take a look at the map, see where people are turning into skulls, and slowly position yourself to overlook these areas. Once you reach a point where you can shoot people from, just stop. If you are regularly seeing enemies and you can actually hit them, there's no need to push any further. Maybe you're killing enemies that are coming in from their spawn heading towards objectives, and that's good enough. This is a team-based game. You don't necessarily have to be the guy at the objective. You can help out the team by just dealing with the enemy and preventing them from getting to the objective in the first place. I was starting to get pretty frustrated with the game, but once I started doing this, once I just stopped moving, once I got a kill and held that position until the rest of the team can push past it reliably, the game changed for me. Simply holding a spot where you have some decent angles can secure a way for your team to push forward. There's no need to always try and be the guy taking point. Alright, tip number 4 is that you can build things in an objective if you build it before it becomes an objective. So if you played engineer, you'll have noticed that you get a warning message when you try and build something too close to an objective, and that blocks you from building anything. Well, if you know which areas will become objectives once the enemy pushes into the next zone, then you can start building there before they get locked. This will allow you to place barbed wire and sandbags in key areas to make defending the objectives much easier. The game is pretty crazy in terms of where you can build things. So for example, you can build barbed wire inside a trench or over a wall. Try not to build something that's going to inconvenience your own team though. Try to think where your teammates will be able to set up, where they'll be able to hold a position, and to place obstacles that will either slow down the enemy or force them to expose themselves in order to dismantle them. I might do a video just focusing on how to build proper defenses, so make sure to subscribe if you want to be alerted when that comes out. Tip number 5, also regarding building defenses, and that is to start building at the back. The front lines usually fall pretty quickly, and you're often too exposed to be able to build all the items that you can. As engineer, you get 8 pieces of barbed wire, 8 sandbags, and 2 sniper shields, so that's a whole lot of things you can put down to help your team. In my experience, trying to place them around the front lines just means dying a whole lot, therefore not using the kit to its maximum potential. So start from the back and take your time evaluating angles, making sure you're leaving gaps for your team to push forward and not just trapping them in. Now, placing sandbags and barbed wire isn't going to automatically win the match for you, but if you can provide a bit more cover around good firing positions, and if you can block a few alleys with barbed wire to slow the enemy down, you'll be giving your team enough time to react to the enemy pushes, which can definitely change the outcome of a game. Tip number 6, use the handguns. I think a lot of people are neglecting the pistols and only using them when playing officer. If you're going inside a trench, using a revolver can let you absolutely wreck the enemy team. For areas where you're fighting in close range, the much higher rate of fire will allow you to tackle multiple enemies at once, which is something you can't do very reliably with the rifles. I prefer the revolvers over the pistols since they deal more damage, so you don't need to take a second shot at someone as often as with the pistol, but the reload on them takes forever. So make sure you retreat to safety when you need to reload. Alright, tip number 7, use custom matches to complete assignments. I'm not a huge fan of the way the progression system works in the game. I would much prefer something straight up based on points, since that's what you get from playing the objective and helping your team, but instead there's a mix of that and some random assignments that you need to check to be able to unlock new weapons. Now, the problem I have with the assignments is that they often make you get some tunnel vision. Say you need to kill enemies with a grenade, suddenly you're trying to adjust your entire playstyle to maximize the chances of getting those grenade kills, and often that's not the best thing you could be doing right now, and it's just not gonna happen. So, if you want a fast and easy way to complete those assignments, just load up a custom match with a few bots and go crazy on them. Stabbing them with the bayonet is super easy, as they tend to man the machine guns and not really realize you creeping up behind them, and you can very easily get multiple kills with a grenade while playing defense on a capture objective, and so on. I can already anticipate some negative comments from people that think this is somehow violating the holy mandate of assignments or something, but I think we would all rather have players that are not really focused on the game be playing on their own. Okay, and now some last tips regarding the officer. So first up, the strafing run is quite broken. For the cooldown that it has, I haven't found any other skill to be nearly as deadly as strafing runs are. Obviously, it doesn't work too well in areas with a lot of cover, but you can absolutely demolish people with it, so definitely try it out if you haven't already. It's for sure the skill that I use the most as officer. Second thing to keep in mind is to save up your smoke abilities to be able to conceal your team when they need to cover open ground. There's plenty of areas where you basically have to make it across a very large open piece of terrain without really any cover at all, so dropping some smoke over that area or dropping some mustard gas or something on the enemy to block their view is a great way to help your team push. And lastly, make sure you use the whistle often. This will make respawning immediate for a short amount of time, so it is a massively powerful ability. I really forget to use this as often as you actually can because I'm too focused on just using the map abilities and all that, but it really does make a crazy difference for your team. Alright, one last thing before I end the video is play the objective, guys. You know, build the spawn points, defend people dismantling the enemy spawns and stuff like that. That makes a whole lot of difference, and also communicate. On PC, I found it very effective to just type in a few things like, yo, there's enemy on the spawn point, or they are attacking from behind, and stuff like that, just to let the rest of the team know what's going on. It really does help a lot. Alright, that's gonna be it for the video. If you have any tips that you'd like to share, then make sure to leave a comment below. And if you like this video, then please hit that like button. It really helps the channel a lot, so it's definitely appreciated. Alright, as always, thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.